Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, we are finally back. Things are going to be getting more and more back to normal. I know there's obviously some stuff that I missed this weekend that we're going to be catching up on, but we do need to, start looking ahead to the next week as well, catch up on all the stories and stuff. So, if there is any stories that I missed this weekend, obviously I'm going to be doing my research and everything, but definitely let me know what, the different things that you guys want me to talk about. But I do have some things picked out. I am going to start knocking out some videos and things will start getting back to normal. What we are talking about today is really one of the biggest stories of the weekend out of the LCS. This was the Dignitas benching of Dardoch, and that really seems like it's been the kind of theme for Summer Split in both the LCS and the LEC, is just random weird roster changes going on, whether it's role swaps, whether it's new players coming in, whether it's random benchings at random times with players that maybe do or don't deserve it. And every time there's going to be a ton of questions that people have to ask, a ton of hot takes being thrown around and all that going on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it a ton, and subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. With that being said, here we go. So Dignitas, this was after Friday, June 18th, when they lost to Golden Guardians. This game was relatively close, kind of. Dardoch went 4-4-8 on Rumble. Overall, maybe not too terrible of a game. Iconic on the other side going 3-2-7 on Diana. We're starting to see her more and more in the jungle. But, a loss to Golden Guardians is never going to be good, especially for a team like Dignitas, who they're definitely not a top team, but they did pretty well in the spring, and they hope to be developing and getting better into the summer, even though I think a lot of people, myself included, think they probably overperformed in the spring, and I was expecting a little bit of regression and probably not as hot of showings and probably not as many wins. But obviously, Dignitas out of the gate, they're making a ton of roster changes already. They swapped out Soligo. Now they're swapping out Dardoch. And what they put out was, after that loss to Golden Guardians, they just put out this tweet that said, Dardoch has been benched for tomorrow's LCS game against TSM. Akaadian will step in as the team's jungler. I think it's funny that they used this hashtag like in this post. I don't know, it's just a picture. I don't know if the hashtag was really necessary, but I did think that was funny. And I do think that this is a little interesting because, one, we've seen a couple different benchings. We've seen Sven, we've seen Alfari, all that. And for the Alfari one, we got a nice little video from Jat, obviously, where he was talking about what's going on, why it's happening, what people should expect. And he received a lot of backlash for it. He did get his fair share of flame. People didn't agree with it. And maybe in the end, Jat really didn't like how that went down. But I think people did appreciate at least them trying to be open. I think people were questioning whether Jat was telling the truth, whether he was being deceptive, what exactly was going on. But I think it was a nice attempt. Cloud9, obviously, we got the very, very nice video from Jack where he was talking a little bit about what was going on as well. And people appreciated that, and that was nice. And now for Dignitas, we're simply getting, just like a little picture thing being put out. Now, Dardoch is obviously not at the level of a Sven or of an Alfari, so maybe it's not as big of an announcement. Dignitas is not as big of a team or whatever, but I just think it's interesting how the big teams who do well on social media, who have big fan bases, who do things right for the most part, put out videos and talk to the fans and use this as an opportunity for engagement and interaction and everything, and kind of treat it as a big deal, as to where Dignitas just kind of puts out this picture, and it was super, super weird, super funny, just the strange kind of differences between everything that can be going on. But anyway, that gets us to the weekend. Obviously, again, Dignitas starts off with a loss to Golden Guardians. That wasn't great, but things certainly did not get better. Yes, their next game was against TSM. It's tough. This is Akaadian going up against his old team. Maybe he's got something to prove. Maybe he's going to pop off here, but obviously that did not happen. You can see that Akaadian ended up, as I remember, score was bad. 1-5-5 on the Diana, but they would get to bounce back the next day against CLG, who, yes, CLG's been hot right now, but still, they're not a top team. If you're a middle-of-the-pack team like Dignitas, CLG is a team you're going to be needing to beat consistently if you want to be in that kind of upper middle pack or whatever you want to call it, and obviously that did not go very well. This was kind of a stomp by the end of the game, with Akaadian going 0-5-3 on the Xin Zhao. So 2 games in, I would say the Akaadian experiment is not going very well, but he's a very up and down player. I'm sure it seems like this was a last minute decision, since he's being subbed in the middle of the weekend, so I'm sure he hadn't been practicing scrimming with the team, anything like that, so it can be a tough situation to be thrown into, especially while Dignitas is kind of struggling already. Another thing that just posting this picture and not posting like the video or explaining what's going on, it leads to a lot of speculation. It leads to a lot of people talking about what's going on. Why was Dardoch benched? This guy was one of their best players in the spring. He's been having an okay summer split. He hasn't been like so egregiously terrible that he needed to be subbed out, or it's not like people really think, oh, Akaadian's going to be better than him or whatever. So that instantly gets people thinking to like toxicity and flaming, especially when you have a player like Dardoch's past. So if this is a toxicity issue, which I think a lot of people are assuming it is, that's where people are jumping to. That's kind of interesting because now we're hearing, you know, this stuff all over the place with Alfari maybe having some behavioral issues, maybe Dardoch creeping up again. And there is some conversation going on between people that it's like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, you know, toxic players should be reprimanded. You can't have that. You need team synergy. You need to be able to fit in as a group, a unit, whatever. But then also on the other hand, there is some people coming out. Like Solo had a quote the other day that was like, if you have a good player, especially one of your best players or whatever, you need to be able to hone him in as a team manager, leader, coaching staff, whatever. You need to be able to, make that work. Like, you can't be toxic, and people should be dealt with, but as a leader, you should be able to get their respect. You should be able to get them in line. You should be able to get them playing, and you should be able to field your best roster of players. You know, you should be able to get the most out of your different players' personalities and everything like that, which I think is an interesting take as well, and I definitely understand both parts of it because, yes, toxicity can obviously ruin teams, ruin environments and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, Liquid probably wants to have Alfari out there. Dardoch probably wants to have Dignitas probably wants to have Dardoch out there, especially after seeing a couple of games of Akaadian now. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes on. But again, without getting much explanation or anything, people are going to start jumping to conclusions and start giving out the hot takes and everything like that. And we did get a little bit from Doublelift during his co-stream of the LCS, talking a little bit about his thoughts on, Dardoch and toxicity just in general in League of Legends and in the LCS. So I did think that was a little bit interesting. Obviously, DL as a former toxic man himself.
Gender super toxic too. That's just a hallmark of being like a fucking League of Legends pro player, guys. Everyone is basically toxic. If you're a cool guy like Apollo or like presumably sneaky, but like I'm not sure, then you're fucking the exception to the rule. Everyone is toxic. You think that Core's not toxic? I'm not toxic. Like fucking Soren, everyone is toxic. Faker, he's fucking toxic. Okay, Impact told me. Who cares? It's a competitive game. Everyone lashes out.
Impact told you Faker's toxic?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go into the details, right? But like, he told me some genders super.
So I thought that clip was just really, really funny. You know, Doublelift naming all the people and everything, and just talking about how prevalent toxicity and stuff like this is in the competitive scene, and how, again, like great teams like SKT and TSM and stuff like that find ways to make this stuff work. With a toxic Doublelift, with a toxic Faker, who knows how bad it actually was or anything like that. And obviously there's levels to it. There's certain lines you can't cross. There's certain things you can't do, and there's a time when it becomes unproductive, but there's also a time where these are the best of the best, highest level competitive people doing, something at a very, very high level. Tensions are going to be there. Passion is going to be there and stuff like that. So it can be really, really weird because, again, Dignitas, I think, is better with Dardoch. I think we saw that this weekend. I don't know when we're going to be expecting him back, and I don't know when we're actually ever going to hear the truth or whatever. But I just think it's really, really interesting. Another man down, another benching, another roster change, another, whatever going on in the League of Legends world right now. And we missed it this weekend, but I still wanted to talk about it. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below. Why do you think Dardoch was benched? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.